Hello, welcome to another episode of She-Fi, and in this episode we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones, Season 6, but particularly so far Episode 2 and that whole big Jon Snow reveal,
Yeah.
and some other theories about what's going to happen with Westeros this season and
hmm
the other future seasons as well. So just letting you know, there's spoiler alert, so if you haven't caught up, you might want to go do that and come back. And we're your hosts. Hello, I'm Amy.
I'm Sarah.
So, Sarah, what were your thoughts about the whole, Jon Snow basically coming back from the dead?
Yeah, well, it was awesome, first of all, as a Jon Snow fan. I think there had been some predictions that Melisandre would bring him back. And that, of course, is what happened. So yeah, it was great to have him come back. I think we had kind of been speculating about it for a while, but definitely good to
And
see him
months, I
back in the
think.
game. hmm
Yeah. Yeah, most of the Game of Thrones fans, it's like been like 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kit Harington did a really good job about keeping that a secret.
Yeah, that's a long time to keep that secret.
Yeah, yeah. So he's basically acting off screen as well as on screen. So
Yeah.
kudos to him. Good job. Now, I guess when I saw it, I thought when the season first started back up, season 6,
hmm
I was thinking it was going to happen like in the first episode.
Yeah.
But basically the whole first episode was just like Jon Snow was there, but it was just like his like lifeless body.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know if they were going to drag it out a little bit more, just like how they did with The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
and Glenn, whether Glenn was dead or alive.
hmm
Um, so, but yeah, I think Walking Dead, they dragged it out for several episodes. Whereas,
Yeah.
well, I guess in a sense, Game of Thrones dragged it out for like 10 months.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about some of the popular fan theories that are being passed around, and a couple that we are actually kind of citing toward.
Yeah.
I think that we think it's very likely true that Jon Snow may actually be the love child of Lyanna Stark, Ned's sister, and Rhaegar Targaryen, who is also Daenerys' brother.
And there are little moments, sort of all throughout the series, that kind of hint at, like, the official story is that Rhaegar kidnapped Lyanna, and but there are sort of little hints all throughout that maybe that wasn't really the case. Maybe she was actually in love with him, and they kind of took off together, and maybe concocted the story to make it look like he kidnapped her. So yeah, there are hints, sort of all over the place, little hints that maybe this is the case.
Yeah, in when you hear people talk about Rhaegar Targaryen, um, actually sometimes you hear people talk about him that he was a good man. Unlike his father, I know that Aerys Targaryen, the Mad King, was a ruthless, cruel ruler. And that his children were basically Rhaegar, Viserys, and Daenerys were born out of incest. But it seems like the pattern I'm seeing of Game of Thrones is that it's for every one of three children turns out mentally insane.
Yeah.
See, ruthless. Because look at Daenerys; she was born in incest, but she's looking to turn out to be a pretty good ruler.
Yeah.
And so Rhaegar could have been the same kind of, good soul as Daenerys was.
Yeah.
It seems like of the three, Viserys was the bad seed,
Yeah.
If you look at the Lannisters, there's also that 1 in 3 children born in incest is crazy, because you've got, so Jaime and Cersei, they've got their 3 kids. Basically, it's Joffrey, Myrcella, and then Tommen. Joffrey was the crazy one.
Yeah. By far.
Yeah, but Myrcella and Tommen are so nice.
Yeah, they're both so sweet.
So it seems like it's like a 1 in 3 in the Game of
Yeah.
Thrones world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 1 of 3 children born in incest is crazy.
Yeah. Um, so that obviously would mean Jon Snow is a Targaryen. Um, and he's not the only person who might be a Targaryen. There are also theories that Tyrion Lannister could be a Targaryen as well. Um, yeah, a lot of, like, in episode 2, you see him talking about dragons and actually talking to the dragons and talking about how he wanted a dragon, and this is one of the hints that he might be um, a Targaryen. And again, like with Jon Snow, they're sort of sprinkled throughout these little hints that maybe he is a Targaryen.
Yeah, and the fact that the dragons did not burn him to crisp.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it seems like the families, they have their animals, and the Targaryens have always had that connection with the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So they must sense his Targaryen blood.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And you know what? Poor Tyrion, he's gotten so much crap from the Lannister family.
Yeah.
That wouldn't it be a happy ending for him to find out that he's not a Lannister after all, and those people that hate him aren't really even his family anyway?
I agree. So if Tyrion is a Targaryen, it would be because he's actually the child of Tywin Lannister's wife, Joanna, and Aerys Targaryen. And there are, again, we're not sure yet. There are some arguments against it, but there are some arguments for it too. There's, at one point, Tywin says to Tyrion something like, men's laws allow you to wear my colors because I can't prove that you're not mine. And he, right before Tyrion kills him, he says, you're no son of mine. And so maybe he's actually telling the truth. So yeah, it would be really interesting to see if Tyrion is a Targaryen. He's already teamed up with Daenerys, so you'd have 2 Targaryens already working together, which would be super exciting.
But with all these theories coming together, we kind of came up with a theory about how this is, if these things are true, and how they can actually shape what Westeros is going to become. Because if you're looking at Westeros, from the very beginning, we've seen that it's very male-dominant society. And it's it's a very harsh place also for women. Women, basically, they don't have a lot of power. It's designed not to give women power. So we feel like the world of Westeros is going to come into some kind of transformation. I'm not sure if that's the case for the books, but we feel like at least for the TV show, that's where Weiss and Benioff may be going with it. Now, especially since the show is no longer following the books. And so we came up with that because now that we see Jon Snow as a Targaryen, but he's also still a Stark from his mother's side. And plus he does have the allegiance to the Starks because of, as we believe, his uncle Ned's, Ned is we believe Ned to be his uncle, and he was raised by his uncle and got to live with him in his family. So because of that allegiance, when Sansa comes to Castle Black, we believe that he's going to come to defend her honor and to take back Winterfell for her to lead as the lady. And Jon Snow he's going to need an army to take back Winterfell. I feel like his army is going to be the wildlings.
I think so too.
And I think Brienne of Tarth is going to join along too,
awesome.
to help, of course. And they're going to take back Winterfell from the evil Ramsay Bolton. Lee, basically has come into power all of a sudden by stabbing his father.
So then we would have Sansa ruling Winterfell, because I don't really see Bran as necessarily wanting to do that now that he's got everything going on with his visions, I think there was a time before that started when he probably would have wanted to, and when he was a younger kid, probably thought that would have been cool. But I don't necessarily see him wanting to go that direction anymore. And Recon is so young that it wouldn't really be feasible.
No,
So I think there is a good argument for Sansa ending up as leading Winterfell.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got this situation with the White Walkers coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's and Jon Snow seems to be really like one of the only few people in a leadership position that's really interested in dealing with these White Walkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So of course he's got the wildlings. They're going to have to protect, basically the kingdom from these from the White Walkers.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in time, Daenerys will make her way to Westeros.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's going to probably come around the time of the whole White Walker thing.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to end up joining each other on the battlefield to protect the kingdoms from the White Walkers.
Yeah, along with Daenerys' dragons, I think are going to go up against the White Walkers at some point.
Oh, that might be an interesting way for Daenerys to realize that Jon Snow is really a Targaryen, because they're probably not going to try to burn him.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm kind of foreseeing a scene where they at first are going to be like trying to go up against each other, because she's going to try to conquer the kingdoms, and he's going to try to protect the kingdoms. But she sends the dragons, and the dragons won't do anything because, can't,
Yeah.
And then he'll admit, because he's going to, as we know, the previews show that in episode 3 of Game of Thrones, Bran's going to have that prophecy.
Yeah.
Of seeing his father as a young man going to the Tower of Joy.
Yeah.
And the Tower of Joy is where we know that Lyanne Stark is at the Tower of Joy, giving birth to Targaryen's son, which is Jon Snow. Or should we really say Jon Targaryen at this point? And Bran's going to see that in a vision, and before Jon runs into Daenerys, I think he's going to find out through Bran that he's really a Targaryen, Targaryen/Stark. Well, and then, of course, Daenerys and Jon are going to have to get along, because basically what Rhaegar is Daenerys' elder brother, that makes Jon her nephew.
Yeah. That's funny.
But with his allegiance to the Starks, she's going to have some kind of allegiance to the Starks as well,
Yeah.
So I think everything's going to fall into place, and they're all going to come up to King's Landing, and they're going to take it back from the Lannisters.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. So then we'd have Daenerys on the Iron Throne. We'd have Sansa in Winterfell. I think we also, and now we have Theon Greyjoy, and he's headed home. He told Sansa last episode. But I don't think that he's in any shape to be in any kind of leadership position. I think he's just sort of psychologically still screwed up from everything that Ramsay did to him. And I don't think that he would even really want that, because he told Sansa, he said that he doesn't want to be forgiven. And so I think that he would see sort of going home and taking over this leadership role as maybe not fair. He feels like he has to sort of atone for everything that he did to the Starks. So I don't necessarily see him in a leadership position there, which would leave his sister, Mira. So then we'd have Mira, we'd have Sansa, and we'd have Daenerys. And it's starting to look like a pretty matriarchal world.
I know, it is. And I see where you're coming from with the Theon Greyjoy thing, because really, we in past scenes, it shows that that Mira is a lot more efficient
Yeah,
or
for sure.
competent of a leader than Greyjoy. I mean, anytime that we've seen Greyjoy in a leadership position, he's really messed things up.
Yeah.
So,
It's true.
I feel like in some ways, now I think he means well, but I think really Mira has the best judgment and clarity of mind to be the best leader of the Iron Islands. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think Theon means well at this point, but I think Mira is definitely a stronger leader and more strategic. So then I guess the question is, if Jon Snow is a Targaryen, why wouldn't he take over the Iron Throne? And my answer to that is, I just don't think that he wants to. I don't see him as wanting that kind of role, that kind of position. It doesn't seem to fit his personality to me. And so I can really see him fighting to get Daenerys on the throne, but I don't think that he would want that for himself.
Yeah, he's more about fighting for what's right rather than. I think he'll lead something if he feels like he's like the only one. But Daenerys has a lot more experience being in a leadership role and ruling over various cities or lands than he does. So I think what will happen is he'll end up as like the hand of the queen.
Yeah.
I'll say he'll be the queen's hand. Tyrion will remain her advisor. Oh, the Targaryens are like back in control again.
Yeah.
Then the story just take a full 360. Like
everything comes full circle.
Yeah, and so it's looking like it's going to be a matriarchal kind of Westeros, but I feel like it would be gender friendly. I don't think there's like I know it's Westeros started out as totally male dominated, and I think it'll end up with more female empowered, more female.
Yeah, I agree. It wouldn't be matriarchal in the sense of discriminating against men in any way.
Yeah,
but more gender equality.
Exactly. I think things will change, a lot for Westeros. I don't think though that the whole matriarchy that's happening in Dorne now is actually working out for Dorne, though.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. I wish things would go better there, but it's not really working out too well there.
Yeah, I think it was better the way it was before.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, of all the kingdoms, I think that was, like, if I was going to live in any of the 7 kingdoms, I think Dorne would have been where I would be until till this season.
Yeah.
Valeria basically killed, a lot of people, including the king.
Yeah.
Not control. Yeah.
Not as nice a place to live anymore.
No. Sarah, if you could be in any kingdom of the 7 kingdoms, where would you live?
Not Winterfell, because it's way too cold.
No way.
I guess it would be King's Landing at this point. I agree with you, it probably would have been Dorne, but there just seems to be too much upheaval now. So I guess it would be King's Landing.
Maybe they could dethrone Illyria and get rid of her.
Yeah.
And her, her kids. And return it to kind of like nice, peaceful land it was before. I picked Dorne, but I think King's Landing's probably the best. Because it looks the prettiest and nicest.
Yeah.
Other than Dorne. Oh, another interesting side note is, so if Westeros is going to end up with Daenerys being the ruler, and then Sansa being the Lady of Winterfell. Winterfell is, and then I guess her basically, she's got Brienne of Tarth there to basically be the muscle to protect the kingdom, So it's very, very female-run society, the Winterfell, which is a very big change because it went from Ned Stark, and then it would have been Robb next, and he's, if not Robb, then it might have been one of his other sons, if they kept with the tradition. But I feel like with Daenerys being the ruler, she wouldn't see it as that. It would just be the next born
I agree.
It would just be the next born of the family.
Yeah.
And so she would definitely, I think, accept Sansa as Lord of Winterfell.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you for joining in to another episode of She-Fi. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just She-Fi and Show. Also, we have a new website. It's basically she-fi.com. So please check out both our websites, our web series, and we also have a podcast going on SoundCloud. So look for She-Fi there as well.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess that's it. Daenerys wants to say thank you for tuning in. Have a good day. And there is potentially her relative, Tyrion.
Targaryen. That's a tongue twister of the name.
I know. By the way, a cute moment, since this is Game of Thrones, and my cat is named Khaleesi, and she's taken a little nap with my little Daenerys Funko Pop doll. You need to see this.
Khaleesi and Daenerys.
Khaleesi and Daenerys.
Aww.